Hello everyone and welcome back to another Mara stock chart planning update video. Like we always do, we're just going to get started with Bitcoin just to go over the chart to get a better understanding of what's going to happen or what may happen with Mara. And of course, it's all just my own personal opinion. It is not financial advice because I am not always right on my trades. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So, first of all, with Bitcoin, just for some correlation reasons, we know that for a while now, for a month now, basically, we've been trading in a sideways pattern with massive fluctuations. Within these fluctuations, we have found plenty of opportunities to accumulate and sell off. We've hit not just imbalance areas very, very well, but retracement areas and filled in extension areas quite well, like this one right here, where we kept retesting this. We had a little test, further test, finally topped it out. We ended up topping out, but to the downside, bottoming out the retracement area or the extension area for support. And then going forward, during like FOMC meetings and stuff like that, we've also maxed out smaller structure extensions, maxed out, support areas, found really good imbalance in support and imbalances. Recently maxed out this area as well, and going forward, and we have a lot more opportunities coming up as of right now as well. We're also finding support within this imbalance area right here. We've so far we're on the current third test of it after finally breaking out of this triangle pattern after retesting it 3 times, also on the downside. And then we're just trying to see if this is going to be enough support um, for us to move higher into this next imbalance area, which is going to be mixing with the 103 and 103.7 liquidity walls, which this area could act as a magnet as well. This is the area I'm going to be looking at primarily, and of course, this is all going to affect Mara, and we'll get into that in a moment. But with this area being here, it's a very strong resistance. I am going to keep my eye on this very closely as we continue to attempt the next all-time high area, the next leg up area. On the smaller picture, of course, I do believe it's going to go much higher over time this year. But this is the next area to look at, with this as a caution area just to keep an eye out on. And we can still see, for example, support break and us find lower support. We have the possibility of trying to fill in this area as well. But as of right now, we got to see if it's going to happen or not. We're still trading sideways. The RSI hasn't really been indicating a shift of momentum just yet. It's still somewhat moving sideways. It's just widening a lot more. And then with that being said, we got to give a little bit more time to see what's going to happen. But with like, for example, MicroStrategy yesterday on their earnings call, just saying how much more aggressive they want to be with Bitcoin, invest a lot more. And of course, we still have ETF inflows that are holding strong and they're picking up. And then just, that waiting, that very just suspenseful, just waiting to see if the Bitcoin reserve is, we're going to hear something about that soon or what's going to happen. But within that being said, we're still in the discounted levels of this overall sideways, very volatile pattern Bitcoin has been having. So being in this discounted area and still trying to decide if what breaker structure we're going to have, or we're going to continue trading on the lower side or finally start breaking up higher. We can jump into Bitcoin understanding that we're just trying to be patient with Bitcoin, but we do understand we are in a really good accumulation area with it as well. Now, when it comes to Mara, we've seen I would say a 3-wave pattern form pretty well. We finally are moving sideways after coming down aggressively from did we reach 30? Yeah, we like barely broke over 30 and then we started moving down lower. Within this sideways pattern, we've seen a potential 4th wave complete if you guys agree with me. I'm going to give my opinion on this as well. But I do believe sometime by the end of this year, as Bitcoin goes into the euphoria stage and begins making like insane highs and new highs, and within those highs we'll still see those like maybe 30-20% dips, and then it will keep pumping up higher, and potentially, let's see if we can hit 200K. I think we will. And with a lot of the backup stuff, with like a lot of more accumulation, Mara is doing a really, really good job with holding. I'm just going to fix the price. There you go. Holding its value quite well. We haven't really seen this trade underneath $10 in a very long time. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but with the reserve, a lot of the easier, more beneficial policies are being developed in the U.S. for these crypto-related companies like Mara. I do believe it's there's backwind building up to go ahead and support this stock as well, and they're doing a really, really good job. Mara is doing a really good job with handling their finances. I understand they are liquidating shares a lot, but this is a growing company. At the end of the day, what do you expect? Like, look at MicroStrategy. They are very much still a growing company, but they're also liquidating to gain as much exposure into Bitcoin as possible, so they can be one of the ones that potentially pump up a lot as well. But of course, that's just my personal opinion. It does not mean I'm right on that. But with this being said, though, a while ago, maybe like a week ago, 26 in China, he's a sub in the channel. Really intelligent dude, just like many others. But he said that he very clearly sees, and this, I'm not going to say it caught me by surprise, but it's something I didn't notice. I am very thankful that he mentioned this, because I was blind. I was too focused on trying to see if I can find a sideways channel pattern forming in Mara, and I wasn't really looking at all the other possibilities too. So he said there is possibility of the stock reaching like below $17.20. We saw that happen actually, I think yesterday, maybe yesterday or the day before. We saw that happen, and we saw it go down lower. We're still seeing some downward pressure because it's been a while since the RSI has really bottomed out, and it's still trying to form a little bit of a downtrend. We could potentially see the C wave get transferred over into the red area if this were to continue, and it's very much possible. I personally don't think it's going to really max out this area. It just depends on, of course, a lot of macroeconomic news that's going to come out, because this highly affects this stock as well, and the earnings that we're all waiting on for Mara as well, which will come out soon enough. And then as we began this downtrend, and he mentioned that a potential support in the lower side, which so far is it's valid, it's been holding, and we're actually below $17. And I want to see this evolve, because it's very, very interesting. This is going to be the moment where we can really tell if Mara is going to try to find support, or how far it can really pull down. We still have a swing low right here that I can retest. We're still technically in an uptrend pattern, because we haven't broken below this low, and we have been somewhat forming a higher high over time. But he also mentioned a couple days ago, I'm not sure if this is still valid, because I should have made an update video a while ago, but he said he thinks he sees resistance at 1833 and then at 1912. So I really appreciate it again. 26 in China. Let's check this out. So I guess he's probably saying that, in my opinion, just to summarize it in my own way, there is the potential of, so we had this imbalance right here, this gap that ended up being filled, and then it came back down. Usually when you have imbalance and you're on one side of it, like we were here, usually it tends to act as a magnet, and also as either a resistance or a support. In this case, it's resistance, and we came back down because we were on the lower side of it. And now it looks like maybe what he is trying to tell me is that there is possibility, and it can look something like this. Maybe it can be a little lower, but it looked like it may be something mixing up in this area, which coincidentally at the moment it is. This imbalance also mixes with the 120 moving average, so it's in that area. It's overlapping, and the RSI is still very much discounted. We don't have to really come down here. If we do, that'll make it a much more clear buying opportunity if you're bullish on Mara and you're and you believe Bitcoin will eventually soon um, reach all-time highs and make a new all-time high soon enough, like real soon, then any dip lower, especially in this area, will be very, very bullish and a very, very strong, in my opinion, buying opportunity. So I'm going to widen that just to make it easier to look at. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and say what my view on Mara is rather than giving a bunch of different scenarios. So we do have a new resistance right here, at least on the shorter term, based on a sub, which I agree with. I think this is actually very, very much valid. It mixes with the 120 moving average. It's looking very healthy, and it also indicates if we can reach up this area and surpass all this this value that was formed right here, which ended up being a resistance right here, and it could act as a resistance again. But if we can push up higher, meet in that area, any price accumulation, any share accumulation that anyone may have down here, and if your average cost is below this gap, I would recommend to be very cautious and maybe at least shave off a portion of the position here, because this is a very strong resistance, and we've seen Mara respect any resistance quite well in the past. It's not something to really take too lightly. So it is a very much cautious area for a lot of traders to take a look at. I do believe though Mara could come down a bit more, and push down lower, because as uncertainty builds up in Bitcoin, and more uncertainty builds up, it causes fear, it makes things look more bearish, and all of that builds up. And if we do continue to come down and try to find support in this area right here, which will be a potential next support area, we have a little swing lower here that can help that out as well. Also, the imbalances don't have to fill, but it could potentially come down further and try to fill it in, and then but I am very, very much bullish. I don't believe this crypto Bitcoin has much more downside to it. It can definitely come down more, but I don't think it's gonna come down a whole lot. And whatever it comes down, I do believe it's gonna end up recovering from it very, very quickly. So the question is, right? If this uncertainty builds up throughout the day, one more trading day tomorrow, and then we start seeing what the fluctuations just preset themselves to be, we can potentially see Mara maybe come down a bit more, or maybe try to push down the third wave down a little bit more over this little third wave move that we had. Usually if a 3-wave move is done, we would have seen this, have like a little bit of, it has a little bit of a stronger, but we have a little bit of a uptrend forming, and then it rejects, it couldn't make it back up, and it comes back down. Usually, of course, when a corrective move is complete, we usually see the price reflect that and actually kind of in a more healthy way trend up higher. In this case, it's not very healthy. It is still very weak. As you can see, volume decreases, more selling occurs, makes it easier for the sells to push down the price more. And now, it's still in that trajectory. So I do believe it's very, very possible soon that we can see this low get pushed down, and then get closer towards this extension area down here for support, before we end up pushing up higher. So we can come down here, eventually, not decline, but invalidate this 4th wave low, and then we can go ahead and look at a new structure, which in this case, if that were to happen, again, it will be very, very beneficial for a lot of people to really accumulate at a much more valuable price. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I do believe this has more downside to it, a little bit more downside. It's just not looking very healthy. So there's no reason to be, overly bullish or like try to take in too much of a big position at this moment. But I do believe whatever downside we have, we've seen this before many, many times. We will eventually pop up very, very quickly, just like it happens all the time, and then we'll continue to see those fluctuations. It's also because we are still moving in a sideways channel. Any trading that happens up here, as you can see, happened multiple times. I wouldn't be, again, even if, just like in Bitcoin, even if this were to come down a bit more to find support, I do believe it's going to recover very, very quickly. And quite simply, we'll be back in this area for a brief moment before we get rejected back down and continue this more widened sideways channel. So the sideways channel is still live, but I do believe it's going to widen a lot more, and you're going to see fluctuations happen very, very quickly. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Let's see if we can continue to stretch out this channel a little bit to find a lower low, and then again, potential resistance right here. And we can see consolidation here if we were to then come up and finally reach this area. But yeah, guys, I hope this video made sense. I feel like I repeated myself a whole lot, but I will catch you guys in the next one, and take care.